Broadcasting will be aired on the first and the third Tuesday at the same time.
So what are we expecting?
What are we expecting? We are expecting a supportive and positive learning experience in which each member is empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
So join us, yours truly, Toastmaster Hazel Fletcher,
Toastmaster Wilson Colley,
and yours truly, Distinguished Toastmaster Carla McGarvey Blair, for another exciting season of speaking and leadership information galore. Toastmaster Speak.
Toastmaster Speaks.
Toastmaster Speaks. Welcome to the Eminent Orators Toastmasters Speak radio show.
Good evening,
season
fellow
2.
Toastmasters and guests, and our loyal listeners and followers. Welcome to another Eminent Toastmasters Speak radio show.
Wow, it's certainly a good evening. And I am happy to be a part of Eminent Orators, but more so the radio show. And I am certainly reaching out to all sundry, all those who are in the hearing of our voices, all those in Radio Land, grandma, grandpas, aunts, uncles, and if you want to say abuelas, tias. And yes, you who I have not even called as yet. Certainly a great evening. We are once again in the studio of Flashpoint Radio. And
Yes,
because of that, yes, we want to say thank you to Flashpoint who have opened not just the doors, but the walls for us to come in. And we want to say thanks. This evening is no exception. The radio show is certainly on its way. We are in studio. And I know that you're just hearing two voices. But hey, please know for sure that it is more than two. And we want you to also be a part of studio. So just in case, you can pick up that phone or you can dial. Do not forget to dial 321-6969. And that's the number where you can reach us just to share your point, just to give an experience, or simply just to call.
And if you're following us live, all you need to do is to comment in the chat. I will be sure to get your message. Whatever the comment is, it could be a question, it could just be a thought. Would appreciate it. This evening is one evening that I'm sure all of us will get a better idea, or at least understand a little bit more as to why you or someone who you love would want to be a Toastmaster, or who needs to be in a Toastmasters club to get to share, to learn, and to grow in a particular manner that will allow them to express themselves in a space or at a time when they're needed most to get their point across. You could be an athlete. You could be a radio host. Imagine that. You could also be just someone who at a point in time is asked a question and you need to respond. Example, a beauty pageant.
Yes.
Believe that. It or
Yes.
not. Those are the situations and scenarios that we'll be sharing with you this evening.
But you see, Toastmaster Woolsey, when I considered even persons who think that they don't even need Toastmaster, and why? Because for them, Toastmaster is all about speaking and leading. And they're not speaking anywhere. They're not doing any form of speaking or just a tidbit. And they're certainly not leading. So they may say, I don't see the need for Toastmaster. But we're going to show you today just how crucial it is for you to also see the need that you certainly need Toastmasters.
Exactly. Some persons already believe that they are gifted in terms of speaking. They have the gift of the God. However, it could be just a gift of verbal diarrhea. You're seeing. But the thing about it is that We at some point need to know not only when to speak, but how to speak and for how long to speak to get our point across to the listening audience. Where that audience could be one individual, it could be 10, it could be 100, it could be 1,000. But what we need to do is to
Yes.
get that information across
You know,
in a succinct manner.
I've seen persons even leave Toastmasters Club because they don't see the need for it. They're an English person. They already know English. But guess what? When it's time for them to make presentations, using up spatial awareness, using the stage, having the audience, capturing the audience in the first 10 seconds of their conversation, they are blank. So knowing English or being an English teacher, and I'm not touching English teachers because we can be Toastmasters. Even as a Toastmaster, I don't know a lot about English. What I do know is that each day with Toastmasters, we are certainly learning and growing. And so because of that, it pushes me to go on, to stay in it, to move forward, because this is what will help.
Let me share a few ideas with you, at least some statistics in a manner that would you believe it that persons who are lawyers
Hmm.
have decided to become a Toastmaster and have seen an uptake or an increase in terms of how they present themselves in the court of law or to their clients. Would you believe it as well that doctors have actually who some doctors are quite shy. They're human beings like us. And the fact of the matter is when they are to say or to present themselves, the information doesn't come off so well to their clients slash customers.
Toastmaster will say, I think we are rushing it too fast. I think we are going too fast. You finished with lawyers already? I want to go back on the lawyer because if I have a case, I do not want to choose a lawyer who doesn't know how to defend a point, who does not have that confidence, can stare the judge in his or her eyes and say, Your Honor, this is the case or this is not the case. If we have a lawyer who is not so certain, well, you see, Your Honor, she was not there. I don't think she. Can we win a case like that?
Not convincing.
I certainly don't think we can win that case. So we definitely need someone who will exuberate confidence. By the way, as I said that word, let's go back into studio for our prospective Toastmaster Michael, the word of the day. Can we get that now?
Well, I just heard just now the concept of verbal diarrhea, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to use so much of that. When I heard Toastmaster Woosley spoke a while ago, I wanted to say, regurgitate is the word that I would come up with. Regurgitate. And so,
Oh, regurgitate.
regurgitate, yes. And so I heard him said verbal diarrhea. And so I listened to the conversation. And so I'm not saying where did regurgitate come from with the concept of that. But I'm just giving the word of the day today would be for me, regurgitate
Great.
for our
Audience, you
Toastmasters.
heard it.
So we are creating links here.
Yes, you heard it. And that's like chain reaction. So, just in case you decide to give us a call, you can also give us the word of the day in your conversation. It's quite simple regurgitate. And so, it is important for us, even when we have our lawyers defending us, that not just what we say they should regurgitate and spit out, but also words that can make the judges more convinced that, hey, this lawyer is correct. This lawyer knows exactly what he's doing or what she's doing.
Right. So what I would, when we started, I mentioned the sports personalities or persons who are involved in sports, and I also mentioned the pageants, persons who are involved in pageants. Persons who are involved in pageants know at some point in time she is going to be asked questions, and she is going to be should be able to present herself in a manner, to answer that question in a manner that is not only convincing, but it actually, well, it convincing makes sense, and it also has is true to the points. Whether she's making a point or two or three, person should understand exactly what she's saying and how that comes across with confidence and without the crutch words such as you know what I mean, no, and so on and so forth. And we will agree that listening to individuals doing answering questions
Yes.
and saying that you know you understand me, man, and stuff like that. What happens? It tends to throw us off. I said this person is not quite ready for what they're actually doing. As a matter of fact, the make and break of a beauty pageant, whether to win, to become the runner-up, or to become the second runner-up, depends a lot of times on just how well they respond to a final question.
Can I share with you, audience, as well? I have listened to a few of those questions being asked. And a lot of time that is a determining factor, whether the person go through for top five or top three or did not make it. It is so sweet to know that within the Cayman Islands, we do have six Toastmasters Club, active Toastmasters Club. And but we also have a lot of pageants entities, pageants organizations, and they have reached out to us on numerous occasions
Right.
just to get our help as Toastmasters to assist with the pageants. There's some pageants that I deal with that has to do with, for example, the imperial pageants. They are the babies. They are the 7-year-old, the 9-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, and we have as young as 6-year-old.
Right.
But this is where we as Toastmasters work with them, work with the babies to get them ready. Ready not just in speaking, how they walk, how they present themselves, how they sit upright, and ensure that during their competition, during their time when they're supposed to be talking, they are able to eloquently display some words, not just regurgitating things that they would have heard or would have swallowed before, but words that they can pick out brand new and come shining like stars. So I am happy to know that the Cayman Islands depend. The Cayman Islands involve Toastmasters even in their pageant training. It's not just the babies, because those who are going away on an international scale still reach out to Toastmasters to have us work with them. And so it is important for them to know they may not see the need, but it's after our involvement, most of the pageants get involved and realize, hey, I did not see the need, but now I do. And so I'm happy you made mention of the pageants.
Indeed. This, remember, at Toastmasters, we learn by doing
Yes.
and by in a nice, safe environment where we get evaluated on what we are doing, how we are preparing ourselves, how we are actually learning and growing. And
Yes.
it helps us to regurgitate that which we are learning. When we step out of walls of the Toastmasters meeting or the Toastmasters training, then we really will see just how much it has played a part in our development. What I love about the fact that the environment for Toastmasters offers that warm, that environment that allows us to feel safe and comfortable in growing in learning whatever we are learning in terms of speech and presenting ourselves is the fact that when individuals come in or join a club, that individual will not only be asking questions, will not only be trying to speak, will not only be carrying out roles, but will also be actually learning what their presentation style is.
Yes.
They'll not only learn how to speak, but also to look critically
At their leadership style,
at their leadership style,
presentation
their presentation style, and
communication
also communication
styles
style
too.
in general, and also
Yes.
take note of how they actually sound when they are speaking.
It's true.
And if you are not listening to yourself when you are speaking generally, Now that you're in the Toastmasters program, it allows you not only to learn about the list, but others will help to evaluate you in terms of how you speak. And by sharing that information with you, you now start looking inward and start, oh, yes, I could have done that a little bit better. And this is how I go about doing it better. And it allows you to grow at the pace that you
Yes.
desire to grow.
Yes.
So those are the areas in which it can help. But persons look at situations, for example, when they are, and I'm going to share a very good example with you. I was listening to Doug Gore some time ago, about 2 3 months ago, and he's a notable race car driver from Montego Bay, Jamaica. And what the situation is with him, all of us know, a lot of us will know that the motoring sport is very expensive. So therefore, these individuals are not able to participate in races and so on using their own funds. And he made a
Yes.
very critical point. He said you have to know how to sell yourself
Self.
to
Sponsor.
a sponsor, a
Yes.
prospective sponsor. And in so doing, you have to learn to speak in a way that you can put the information out there about yourself, what you're, but more critically, what you are also going to be able to be doing for that particular sponsor. And that is what you do. When we look at persons, so that is for the motoring public. When you look at, for example, Shelley and Fraser Price and these brand ambassadors that we have for Jamaica and other places, uh, athletes in the US and Canada and so on, these brand ambassadors are persons who are going to be going out there and speaking for or on behalf of that brand, that company. Could be Nike, could be Vogue, whatever it
Yes.
is. And so they will have to know how to put yourself out there. They're not talking about interviews. There will be interviews for the sporting activists, participants, whatever sport you're in, athletics, football, race car driving, whatever it is, you're also going to be asked to speak. And in speaking, you need to do so in a succinct manner. Be able to regurgitate that information, that knowledge that you would have grasped from Toastmasters without doing so in a way in your early stints, learning the hard way, so to speak, and perhaps losing out on a sponsor, on a deal, or something that effect.
Toastmaster Wilson, that was a lot. I can't even regurgitate anything that you said. That was a handful, a mouthful, a footful. That was so much.
So that
But
is
they
quite
were
important.
all, yes.
So it is important as well. As you say what you're going to say, don't say too much. Leave some for persons
Which
to
is-
bite and to chew on.
Which is basically what I just said to him in a nice way. I want to go back to two of the conversations. One, your regurgitation of that race car driver.
Right.
And I recognize that he was saying in order he has to be able to sell himself worthwhile for a prospect to really decide, I am going to sponsor you, I am going to take that up.
Exactly.
That did not come lightly because he would now, not being a Toastmaster, have to depend on his schema, have to depend on experiences in order, and personal experience in order, or maybe contacts in order to help him.
Mhm.
But if being a part of Toastmaster will give him that boost, that confidence, along with the other factors that can make a difference. I know you swing also to the track athletes and to other athletes.
Right.
And they come so important at a point where we have to recognize that, especially for those athletes who are elite athletes, who after international, they have taken the international stage, they now have to talk. They have to discuss. Sometimes their training habits, sometimes their eating habits, sometimes the struggles they go through. And there are so many other factors, especially when they are being interviewed. And
Right.
some of these interviews are not pre-planned.
Right.
The questions are just thrown at you. And right away, there's an aspect or an arm of Toastmaster that comes in. So it's not a case of regurgitation now. It's a case of that impromptu moment.
Right.
And that's what we call
Table
the
topics.
table topics.
Indeed.
That's the moment where you now have to dig deep and get into what is table topic all about. It's really defending a point or not defending a point in an impromptu setting. You're called upon suddenly and you're able to still, within a short time, deliver a speech.
2 minutes.
And I said speech because you're still giving that opening, that body, and that conclusion to the
Exactly.
topic. So while we're doing that, we again have to think about our experiences and the things that we would have learned.
Indeed. So
I want to
yes.
I
Go
want
ahead.
to throw back something on you because you made mention of doctors, and I think you just stopped right there. And I do not want that to go because we may have some doctors in the house, or we may have some doctors listening. And not just doctors, but medical personnel. Because in truth and in fact, there are medical personnel who have to deal with not an audience, but a parent, an anxious parent, a parent who is scared, a parent who is nervous, who is afraid. How do you get that message across to the parent who may be shy, who may be scared, who may be anxious, who may not even want to talk? They just want to know what's happening. Or you're going to give them worst news ever. There's no form of regurgitation in that. It is simply how you deliver the package. And that in itself can make a difference with delivering the package because that will either bring the parent up to say, okay, this is reality, or have the parents, you have two on your hands to deal with.
Right. I'm so happy that we now have our medical personnel online in the form of Toastmaster Hazel Gordon Fletcher. And
Oh,
so,
one of the
and he's
hosts.
and without just regurgitating what we already know, and she may be regurgitating some of what she knows. However, she just came in at the right time when we're talking about the doctors, and perhaps she could share with us an example or a situation in which we would need a doctor would need to be speaking in a manner that allows how, in other words, how Toastmasters would affect positively a doctor presenting a case or answering a parent or
Giving the bad news.
giving whether it be good or bad news
Yes.
to a patient.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I've been listening to the conversation for a while. And as you can say, chill and be merry. Chill and be merry.
Just chill.
Yeah.
Remain merry.
Communication is a very important tool. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a teacher. And it's not what you say, is how you say it.
Yes.
And I am going to give an example. And it's a personal thing that happened to me when I came here. In my culture and your culture, when somebody's hurting, you would say hush, 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 hush. And that wasn't a bad word, but somebody was hurting, and I said hush. And I did not know that I was in hush your mouth, hush your mouth. And that escalate, yeah, that escalate all the way up to supervisor and whatever because the person was really, really mad. Yeah, that I'm saying hush, hush your mouth. But for us, that is a natural thing for us to say, and we're just trying to comfort somebody when we say hush, hush.
Right.
Yeah. So communication is very important, and we have to understand people culture. And one of the things that we need to do in order to understand when we're communicating is to ask. Carla, what is your expectation of the surgery of your husband?
Ah,
Yes.
Would,
yes.
yes? And when you answer me, then I can answer you according to how you answer. Yeah?
Yes.
It's not how I feel. And these are some of the and I heard that you talk about the selling the product. You
Yes.
remember that is one of the project that we have in Toastmasters. I'm not sure it is here again because I have not done that project. When you sell the product, yeah, how to
And
sell,
persuasion. Yes.
yeah,
Persuading
Yes.
your audience.
right, sell the product, yeah. So very important for us to know the culture, know the person, understand their feeling, and all of that is something that we learn in Toastmasters, right? We learn about communication, we learn
Yeah.
about leadership, we learn about selling the product. And this has helped me. This has helped a lot of person, whether they are doctors, whether they are nurses, whatever profession you are in.
What I want to throw at you, Toastmaster
Yeah,
Fletcher, is if you have witnessed any form, or you yourself would have experienced any form of tact where a patient have died, or a patient become critically ill, or a patient, the bad news of the big C, where the doctor has to deliver that message, or you have to guide that parent or that family member, and the need for Toastmaster, or the Toastmaster strategy in delivering that bad news, or the news that nobody wants to deliver. Have you ever been in that situation, or have witnessed it, where you could say, and the doctor was very good, or could have done a better job had he or had her been a Toastmaster?
I have seen several times
Wow.
doctors who don't like to deliver that news,
Huh.
nurses who don't like to deliver that news, and I am sure, as it relates to me, I can remember one of my coworker. I was nursing her husband, and her husband died. Yeah, her husband died, and she came to the ward. That was long before I joined Toastmasters. Her husband
Okay.
died, and I had to give her the news. I can't. I know she was crying. She was crying, 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 crying. I don't know if I told her hush. I don't know if I told her hush or not. But if I did, I know now I would not have done that, right?
Aww.
I would have just take her and set her down and allow her to ventilate her feelings or cry and just listen to her. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There are some doctors who don't believe that the person is going to die. They believe that they have life in their hands, so they're not going to deliver that death news. They're not going to discuss anything about anything where the patient is concerned. And likewise, you have nurses who's like that. And sometimes Toastmasters, I know Toastmasters, you don't even know what to say, especially
Yes.
when they come close to
That
you.
is true.
Right.
That is true.
So true.
That is true. So you'll have to definitely do the best you can based on the situation or the setting.
Yes,
I'm
that's
so happy you touch on the medical, because I think we can move to a lighter profession, or a lighter note, as we swing into a singer. If I'm a singer, would I need to know about Toastmaster? I'm not leading and I'm not speaking. I'm singing.
Of course, you can't sing your way through life. You need to communicate.
All right.
And even though you have the ability and the talent to regurgitate those the lyrics for your song, to sing
Yes.
so beautifully,
Yes.
what it comes down to you being able to communicate with your manager, to communicate with your producer, to communicate with your audience,
All right.
right? Because there
And
are times
sell
when
yourself, as you said before.
exactly, and there are times when you are going to be needing to get additional promotions. We are on a radio program. How do you answer those questions in a manner that persons are able to understand what you're saying? Are you going to be just rattling off a 5 minute response, or you're going to be doing a response in 30 seconds or 2 minutes, so that
That's true.
individuals are able to understand what you're saying, and you can actually pull your audience, your listeners in. Oh, I like
If you have prepared answers, sometimes
exactly. I like Tatiana or whoever you may be. I like Toastmaster. I like Hazel. She's able to say how she feels and shares her feelings with her. And so instead of you having just 100 followers or
Okay.
1,000 followers, are going to be having 100,000 or maybe even 1 million, just by people being able to understand you and are able to warm up to you.
Toastmaster Fletcher, you were saying something. Go ahead now.
yeah. I was saying that even if you have prepared questions and answers, somebody might decide to ask you something that is not on.
That is
Right.
not on the script. And as
Right.
a singer, you may say, was that on the script?
Scripture.
But Toastmaster can make the difference. I'm so happy you made that point because, again, the impromptu moment comes because we sometimes have been at various interviews, and there are times, based on the situation, you may get a privy or you may be privy to whatever is going to be asked. However, there are going to be times when information are just asked on the top of the interviewee's head, just to ask. And again, we have to be prepared. But I'm looking at the singer as the singer.
Hmm.
I am sure, as old as we are now, there are some songs when we hear it singing again or singing now, we said, was that what the person saying? I didn't hear that word. I thought they were saying XYZ, and I could reel off a lot of songs. Sometimes when I hear my husband sing, I said, that's the word? I didn't get that. Because sometimes the persons are singing and they themselves, as singers, are not clear.
Right.
And that in itself can be a turned off. I don't know what you're singing. You sound good, but I can't hear you. And so, even as Toastmasters, you're singing, but it helps you. We also help for you to have proper pronunciation of your words. Where
All
do
right.
you put the pause? Where do you stop? Where do you
All right.
slow down?
All
Where
right.
do you
All right.
speed up? Based on what we were even discussing at the last show in
Yeah.
terms of our pace, our cadence, how fast do you go? And so, even as singers, having the proper pronunciation makes a difference to your album. So, I'll say to you, there is need for you in Toastmasters. Once again, the
Exactly.
number to call is 321-6969 for Flashpoint Radio, just to share a comment, share your point of view. And yes, remember the word of the day, regurgitate. Don't
Wow.
forget.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't get it. I didn't.
Exactly. So,
I
so
didn't get it, but I'm sure this is the first time I'm hearing it now. So maybe it's just.
It has been said, and we have been using it. I thought you said you were on earlier to hear that word keep coming back. So what is so about regurgitate? So then, again, you're able to use it. We jump from singer. You wanted to say something on
yes, there
singer? Go ahead.
not on singer, but
Okay.
there are 2 points. It will involve singer as well, but there are 2 points that I really wanted to make mention of before or speak on before we actually close out. And I just say them now. One is the importance of an interview to be able to know how to the art of speaking
Mm.
will help you in an interview. The
Okay.
art of knowing how to answer a question in that 2 minute manner.
Yes.
The techniques that you will learn from Toastmasters by using these techniques in the table topics sessions that you will be practicing as a Toastmaster, so you can use that in the world out there, in an interview for a job, in an interview for other positions or other situations. So that is one. And secondly, one of the least looked at part about Toastmaster, being a Toastmaster, is in the point of giving a presentation via a PowerPoint presentation. And
Yes.
that is powerful. That goes across all formats,
Yes.
whether it's in your job, whether it's be you're a singer, whether it is you're a producer, whether you're a
That's
doctor,
true.
a lawyer, a
Student.
teacher, a student, whatever. Whether you're a
Yes.
businessman going out there to sell your product, to sell your company to a prospective
Coming back,
client.
giving
So
the report
exactly.
to your senior advisors. Again, a PowerPoint presentation can be useful
Right.
and
So
very, very keen.
right.
Have
So
you ever listened to an athlete after they have won the race or won something, and they call them for interview, and
We have
sometimes
been,
when you hear them speaking, you're cringe. You know they definitely need to be baptized in Toastmasters class.
what a term.
Yeah.
Baptism is a good and a strong word, because baptism means that you're a bit totally submerged, going down under and coming back out anew
I'm
and
Yeah.
fresh.
looking where Toastmaster help even singers. Have you ever been to a concert, a contest, or anything where you have singers? The big stage, it's wide, it's available, and they're just to one side of the stage. So that spatial awareness that they should have garnered, they haven't. And yet they are great singers. They're international singers. Some of them singing, the eyes are closed right throughout.
So they're wrapped up in the song.
They're wrapped up in the song, but you also need to remember you have an audience to please, an audience who have paid to see you. And so, a lot of times, even though it's more comfortable for you to have your eyes closed, and it cannot be 90% of the song. It cannot be all the way. So these are things that Toastmaster will help you to know that I am able to keep my eyes open, not being nervous, not looking scared, use my facial awareness. My head is up, looking out at my audience.
Indeed. So what you're actually are mentioning a while ago, part of being able to speak in public, or to be speaking confidently, or to more importantly communicating your message effectively, is that you're going to have to be able now to learn how to manage your
Yes.
body language.
Yes.
So your body language awareness needs to be there. How, when you're expressing yourself through the use of your body language, it enables you to better communicate what you're saying to your audience.
Certainly.
Again, I say that audience could be 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, 100,000. We need to be able to communicate in a manner that will allow them to better understand, or to understand fully what you want to communicate to them.
Yes, and another thing that we learned in Toastmasters is that when you're going up there to, whether it is speaking, drama, singing, whatever, we need to know the
Yes.
audience that we are presenting to and
Right.
how to deliver to them, right?
Exactly.
That's true. And speaking of audience, we certainly would want to greet our listening audience, especially those on YouTube, those on Facebook, those on the web radio, and those who are joining from the website www.flashpointmedia.ky. We want to say thank you so much as you continue to listen. And again, you're able to give us that call, 321-6969, before we are out of studio, just to share your point. And yes, try to include the word of the day, regurgitate.
Regurgitate.
Yes.
Just like how you just regurgitate. The double, 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 double. Right.
We're shifting gear as we move from singer. Are we finished with singers?
I think we can.
Because I think we can touch dancers.
Mm.
Ooh, dancers. Do we need dancers to be involved in Toastmaster? Dancers, they're dancing, they're not leading, they're not speaking, they're
We,
dancing.
of course, we need everybody. Preacher,
Indeed.
dancer.
How can Toastmaster benefit a dancer?
Well,
Or how can a dancer be benefited from Toastmaster?
from Toastmasters. So a dancer will not be dancing 24/7 for sure. A dancer needs to eat. A dancer needs to sleep. And of course, a dancer needs to speak. If you're in a dancing group, you're going to be practicing, you're going to be needing to be able to communicate what the moves
Lovely.
need to be made
Beautiful.
so that individuals can not just understand what we are saying, but they can quickly understand what you're saying. Instead of taking 2 minutes to understand something that you need to communicate, 5 seconds could be good enough to communicate what you want to communicate.
That's true.
And you're taking 2 minutes. It is going to draw the practice session out. You're going to find that you get tired. Oh, I can't get it. You're practicing the same things over and over and still not getting it. Simply because you perhaps are forgetting or not know or don't understand some of the tenets that you can use or the skills you may need to communicate what you're saying to your dance partner or partners in that group.
Excellent point. Toastmaster Fletcher, do you have anything to add to that?
Or maybe they are not regurgitating the moves that
Yes.
you learned.
Right.
And you're so correct. I am happy you made mention of the partners because there are times we are dancing or you have dancers and they're dancing with a partner, they're dancing with groups. And sometimes being the strongest or the stronger of the two or the strongest within that group, you can be frustrated when they're not getting it. You
Right.
can be upset. You can be wondering why they're taking so long. But there is a way that we are able to help you to bring out your frustration in a sweet way. So that even though you're frustrated or you may be impatient, you are able to bring across and you're able to work with the weaker party much better. As Toastmasters, even if you're a dancer, you may be a strong dancer, but you are able to say to the party the correct way in which you not critique, but the correct way in which you evaluate the person, and which is another arm in Toastmaster. And this is what we call evaluations. At each meetings, there's some aspect of the meeting that are being evaluated. There are times the entire meeting is being evaluated. There are times you have a speaker that is being evaluated, or we have different roles that are being evaluated.
Evaluator is
And
also evaluated.
and sometimes the evaluator, thank you, is also being evaluated. And that there is a way in which you're able to bring across your evaluation, your personal evaluation of the situation. And so, even as a dancer, it doesn't mean that your evaluation is perfect, but we have to understand it's from your perspective. Thus, we respect that. And with any form of statement that is made, we are able to absorb, regurgitate, and move on.
Exactly. I just want
On
to
the other hand, as
Yes.
Toastmasters, wherever you go and there is some communication speaking that you can hear, you are evaluating it without being asked.
Yes.
exactly.
Sometimes without knowing.
We don't know. And I just want to touch on the dances a little bit. As it really, I'm sure a lot of us have at some point watched American Idol.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And watching American Idol, there are several, or America Got Talent rather, and there are several different persons from different genres, or different styles, or different skills being showcased. And one such popular ones happen to be dancers. And if you know anything about these programs, this contest, each person they are not evaluated, but they are asked to answer a question. They're asked a question or questions before they present what they are going to do, and also at the end of their
Yes.
presentation. You being a Toastmaster, being in a Toastmasters club, learning how to present what you're saying, what you want to say in a succinct and efficient manner is also will become very important to you, and how you actually again put yourself out there.
That's true.
And so when if Simon asks you a question, you need to answer that question properly.
I know,
Beginning and the end. And as well as the other contestants, the other judges. So becomes important. So your dancing career will not necessarily be built around that one performance. However, your performance may not be so good, but how you presented yourself
Yes, makes a difference.
makes a big difference.
That is so true.
and being a Toastmaster is something that is looked upon by people. Last week I was speaking at not Sabbath, no, the week before. Yeah, I was the speaker at a church, and in my bio, I said that I was a Toastmaster. And immediately I heard somebody down say, shout out, yeah, yeah, Toastmaster. Yeah, it seemed like he was so glad to see a Toastmasters there. And when I came out, he came out and he speak to me and about the Toastmasters and whatever challenge they have in there. So as a Toastmasters, just like a Seventh Day Adventist, anywhere you go, you're likely to find somebody.
There is one. Anywhere you go, you'll find one.
You go in the U.S. Senate, you'll find, you go next to the President of the United States, you're going to be finding Toastmasters.
And that is true. And it leads me to the point of promoting or continue to promote all the Toastmasters Club here that we have on island. And I really want to let the radio land know that we do have clubs that takes place, their meeting times are right throughout the week. So we can't go wrong at all. And at closer to the end of the program, I'll definitely share the meeting times and the clubs.
So right now, I would just like to stress this point I mentioned earlier about individuals who are doing interviews. Now we are talking about not just students, but we are talking about persons who are actually working professionals as well. But it's very important for us to know this, that, and you already know, I'm sure a lot of us do know, that a lot of times it is not our skill and our ability to regurgitate that information or that knowledge that we have when we are in an interview, but it is actually how we present ourselves and answer those questions in not just a timely manner,
Yes.
but also in an efficient and succinct manner, so that individuals within and let me just add this other word, confident manner, so that the interviewers find themselves in a position where they're saying this person that is sitting before us is not just an educated person, but this person can communicate to us what he or she wants to get across. So that will make, and that sometimes is what gives you the edge over someone who sometimes is more qualified than you are.
And you wonder, why did this person win and I am better? Or why did this person go through and I am better? But it goes to show sometimes it's a way in which the presentation was done. We focus today on simply persons who think they do not need Toastmasters. Rather, persons who may have the notion that Toastmasters is not needed in their walk of life.
Perhaps they did not know that they
That
need
too.
the space that they needed to help them to become that better person, that better at what they do. They had no knowledge that it actually existed.
You're right. And we started out with lawyers. We ran swiftly into doctors, and then we went into athletes, athletes of different levels, but more so the elite ones. We went, we looked at beauty pageants. We also look at singers, dancers, and any other in betweens. to let you know that Toastmaster is definitely the place where you are able to showcase a better version of you. With that being said, I am not sure if Toastmaster Fletcher, one of the hosts, do you have any final comment as we wrap up to give the dates and time for our next club meet, next radio show?
Yeah, my final comment is that communication is a very effective tool.
Yes.
So, evaluation, according to our knowledge, and somebody said evaluation is the breakfast of champions. So, if you want
Yes.
to be a champion, you need to be a good evaluator, need to be a good communicator in order to evaluate also.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, indeed.
All right.
To be a communicator, and not just any communicator, but a good communicator, one needs to put all the tenants together. Well, to be able to evaluate, to be able to captivate your audience or to influence individuals while you speak, and also to be able to help individuals not just to understand what you're saying, but for that individual to leave from your presence feeling that they have accomplished or they have learned something new
Yes.
from being in your presence.
Yes.
So being a good communicator, whether you are young, whether you are in between, whether you're a professional or not, whether you're just starting out, to learn to be a good communicator makes a big difference because leaders are not only made through communication, but Toastmasters are where leaders are made. And if you are a Toastmaster for any period of time, you'll come to that position where you are able to grow, not just to be the better you, but to become the best that you can be in whatever you're doing.
Great points. I want to thank you so very much, my co host, Toastmaster Woolsey and Toastmaster Fletcher, that we have today have instilled in someone else who thought that they were not in need of Toastmaster or who did not know that they were in need of Toastmaster, to let them be aware that it does not matter what you are doing in life, there is a space for you in Toastmaster. Within the Cayman Islands, you may say space where. I'll say to you, if it is a Monday, the space will be
At Eminent Orators Toastmasters Club at Cayman Academy grounds, canteen to be correct, at 6 p.m. We are both in physical location and you can join us virtually on, on Zoom.
all right. And if it is on a Tuesday, Toastmaster Fletcher, can they reach out to where? I am sure that it is eloquent speakers
That's right.
right in Savannah United Church, and
Right.
that's in the boardroom upstairs. They start at 6:30. So the moment we are finished with radio show, that's the beginning of Savannah's of the Eloquent Speakers Toastmasters Club.
Indeed.
If it is on a Wednesday, you may possibly be a part of it if you are a civil service worker, because civil servants have their club meeting on a Wednesday. It is closed solely for civil servant workers. But if it's on a Thursday,
You
yes, we will send you to the Mother Club, the Grand Cayman Toastmasters Club. And they held it, the meetings are held at the Georgetown Library on the third floor, and they start at 6 o'clock and they end between 7:15 and 7:30. We'll say to you, as members of this radio show, that you can find Toastmasters if you want to find Toastmasters. Because where there's a will, there's always a way. So reach out. And by the way, I haven't mentioned Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you'll find Flashpoint Radio. always available. And just in case you want to hear something about Toastmaster, reach out to Flashpoint 3216969 and they may just send you something on Toastmaster. With that being said, I will say to you that Flashpoint Radio will air this particular program next week at the same time. Yes, from the same location.
But just in
We have
case,
another club on Thursday, first and third Thursday at the Health Services Authority. You may not be able to join as a member, but you're welcome to visit.
indeed, indeed.
And let me regurgitate that just in case. HSA Toastmasters Club, the Health Service Authority, they too have their meeting every first and third Thursdays at 6 o'clock. You may not be able to join, but you are welcome to be a part of their audience. They welcome everybody. Once again, it's a closed club, but not close to you, just coming in to have a good time. If you work at HSA, why aren't you a part of the Toastmasters Club? Because they do welcome all of us.
But just in case you miss all of that and you are hearing about Toastmasters for the very first time, all you need to do is to jump on the internet and type in toastmasters.org. And you are now opened up to the world of Toastmasters, surfing the internet to see which the club you are able to join. Whether it is one in here in the Cayman Islands, whatever, if you are in Dubai, whether you're in Jamaica, wherever you are, you will now be able to find or to search for a club that you can become a part of.
Just
And
like
they
yes.
it in any time you go on because of the different time zone. 2 a.m. in the morning you wake up, there might be a club meeting going on.
So there could be a meeting right near you.
We want to thank our listening audience, all those who are in Radioland. We want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Those who are on the different social media platforms, we say thank you. This is definitely another heartwarming radio show. And this is why we do what we do, knowing that when we share Toastmasters with you, you are able to share it with the world. Once again, remember, Toastmaster is so important because it is the place where leaders are made.
I know somebody wants to know what the word of the day sounds like, or
Yes!
who won the
Who
word of
won
the
the
day.
word of the day?
Well, you know, well,
Remember, it was regurgitate.
I want to let you know that Carla did outdo you, Carla. I saw when I saw your face, just like whenever you hear her say the word, and I know she got one on you every time over because you're busy with the conversation and trying to get the information out.
I tell you.
And she's there ready to just get those words in, right? So yeah, she's at a whopping 12 points on this one. It probably should be more, but I'm going to put it at a whopping 12. And you are at 7 points. You could have gotten more because you just stopped after a while. And Izzy was just racking it up at 4 points, faster than I could imagine. But
so my rate of regurgitation was low.
Toastmasters in Radioland, we have great news for you because our prospective Toastmaster is coming on board sooner than later. Right, prospective Toastmaster Michael?
I want to say to the Toastmasters, wherever you're listening from, I want you to have a great evening. It has been Toastmasters Speak, with, of course, your host, Carla McGarvey Blair, and, of course, the man, Mr. Woodley Colley. Right here on Flashpoint Radio, we had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time doing the numbers and, of course, doing the tallying of the word regurgitate. And, of course, we put in the description to ask someone, what is the meaning of it? If you could put the meaning in there, that would be nice for someone else who did not know what the meaning is. Regurgitate is our word of the day. All right, so that's what I'm going to say.
All right.
Okay.
This has been
Nice.
Toastmasters Speaks, guys. Catch you next week, same time, same place, on Tuesday at 5:30 in the PM, right here in the Grand Cayman Islands.
See you then.
See you then. Toast. What are we expecting?
What are we expecting? We are expecting a supportive and positive learning experience in which each member is empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
Oh, join us, yours truly, Toastmaster Hazel Fletcher.
Toastmaster Wilsey Colley.
And yours truly, Distinguished Toastmaster Carla McGarvey Blair, for another exciting season of speaking and leadership information galore. Toastmasters Speak.
Toastmaster Speaks.
Toastmasters
Toastmaster
Speak.
Speaks.
Need help to
Welcome.
produce your podcast? Flashpoint Media makes it very easy. We can relieve you of the headache by recording your podcast for you. So, take the first step to getting your content to your desired audience. Contact us here at Flashpoint and your podcast will be live in no time. Our website is www.flashpointmedia.ky or call us at 345-321-6969. That's a 345-321-6969.
All right, that was the Toastmasters Speak right here.